You know, when Karen showed up that morning with bolt cutters in hand and declared, "The queen of this pool has arrived," I just knew my weekend was about to get weird, like sitcom-level madness. But Liv, her son, shirtless and way too sure of himself, had a beer can in one hand and shoved past her like he owned the place, cannonballing into the closed community pool with such a splash it set off a car alarm down the street. Yeah, that happened. There I was, frozen on my back porch mid-sip of my coffee, wondering if I'd accidentally moved into some kind of reality show. But it wasn't the noise or the chaos in the water that got me, it was the flood of guests trailing behind them, carrying snacks, speakers, and absolutely no respect for the very rules Karen had sworn to uphold. The irony? Beautiful. I glanced over at my counter and spotted the jug of honey water I'd brewed for my vegetable garden. That's when I smiled, because if they were bringing chaos into my life, I was about to bring bees into theirs. Let me back up a sec. I bought this house about 6 months earlier, drawn in by the quiet cul-de-sac, clear skies, and that community pool sitting right behind my fence. Working from home as a tech consultant, I craved peace and quiet. The HOA seemed strict but organized. Karen herself had even been polite when we first met. She introduced herself as HOA president, clipboard and visor in full effect, like some overzealous substitute teacher on a power trip. I never imagined she'd become the reason I'd Google whether hornets count as party crashers. The pool had been closed for 2 weeks for chemical maintenance after a toddler's swim diaper disaster, delicately put by the board, but we all knew it was nasty. They drained the pool, treated it, installed a new digital lock, and put up clear signs saying it would reopen after inspection. I was on the HOA tech subcommittee, which was mostly Wi-Fi stuff, but I had admin access to the pool lock system. Karen didn't, though that didn't stop her from acting like Neptune's chosen lifeguard. That Saturday morning started peaceful enough. I was outside watering tomatoes, preparing a new batch of honey water to track bees and deter pests. I hadn't even screwed the cap back on when I heard metal clinking. Looking up, there was Karen, oversized sunglasses, leopard print cover-up, hacking at the pool lock like it was a Vegas vault. Her son, flip-flops and all, held the gate open for at least 20 people. I called out politely, "Karen, the pool's still closed. Inspection's Monday." She didn't even look. "Oh, honey," she chirped, "I'm president." I overruled it. I reminded her, not without full board approval. Finally, she turned with this grin stretched way too wide, waving a mimosa. "Then write me up," she said, "but don't act like you've never bent rules for fun." Her son laughed and jumped in the water, nearly flattening a swan float tie. "What you gonna do? Call the pool police?" The party had it all: music, coolers, folding chairs, even a cake table. Some folks were residents, others strangers. It was a full-blown shindig hosted by someone who had literally broken into public property while pretending to uphold the rules. I pulled out my phone, checked the HOA chat. Neighbors were already complaining about noise, unsupervised kids, and even Karen's son smoking near the pool pump. Beer cans littered the deck. Karen wasn't just a power tripper. She weaponized authority like a pro, all while pretending to be your friend. She'd find a neighbor for painting their porch too bright, then thrown karaoke nights that shattered eardrums blocks away. I could have called security or the board, but honestly, something snapped inside me. I didn't want a fine. I wanted poetic justice. I wanted karma served cold, with a side of bees.so. I waited until the sun was high, the party in full swing. The air smelled of sunscreen and grilled meat. Karen held court near the shallow end, sipping rose, bragging about her executive override. I slipped into the garage, put on gloves and boots, grabbed the honey water, and snuck around back of the pool fence. Far from view. I poured the honey water into the skimmer drain intake, drizzling it into shady crevices where bees like to gather. Even splashed some on a floatie that had drifted to the edge. Summer heat did the rest. Minutes later, I heard the buzz, not from the speakers, but wings. At first, no one noticed. Yellow jackets hovered near watermelon slices. Someone shooed them with a towel. Then came wasps. Then more bees. Not hovering anymore, but swarming. When a girl screamed from a sting on her ankle, panic erupted. People bolted, slipping and screaming. One guy dropped a Bluetooth speaker into the deep end. Karen flailed, yelling, "Oh my God, they're attacking." Why? Her son hid behind a pizza-shaped floatie, looking like a cartoon terrified of his own shadow. He tripped on a cooler, hitting pavement with a howl worthy of an opera singer. The stereo kept blasting summer pop songs, ignored by everyone but now part of a nature documentary gone rogue. I stood on my porch, sipping coffee, sunglasses on, watching the chaos unfold. Someone yelled for an AP pin, another ran barefoot into a bush. One guy got stuck halfway over the fence. Karen curled behind a lawn chair with a towel on her head. It was chaos, but beautiful, karmic chaos. No shouting needed, just a little sweet planning and nature doing its thing better than any HOA letter ever could. I didn't call emergency services or intervene. The bees were the uninvited guests delivering their own sting of justice. By morning, the pool looked like a battlefield. Floaties drifting, crushed soda cans bobbing, a soggy speaker belly up in the deep end, and the deck littered with flip-flops, broken sunglasses, and a bee-swatted towel. Karen's party had turned into a humiliating exodus. Watching it from my porch? The most satisfying hour of my year, but I knew this humiliation was just Act 1 for Karen. She'd be scheming her comeback before the bee stings even healed. I spent the morning cleaning my side, washing out the honey jug, tossing gloves, checking the alley. Nothing incriminating left behind, just the faint scent of sugar, but hey, with all the spilled drinks around, no one would pin it on me. Then I pulled up the HOA security feed on the app. Karen had no idea a camera was installed outside the pool fence 3 months prior, when I set up during our Wi-Fi upgrade. It caught everything. Karen snapping the lock, her parade of guests, her smirking like she was hosting the Oscars. I downloaded a backup copy, smiling, no spin could twist raw footage. The neighborhood chat was quiet all night, unusual for Karen and her loyal minions. Then at 10:43 a.m., Jennifer from Lot 19 broke the silence. So, are we going to talk about the bee apocalypse, or what? Boom. Floodgates open. Messages poured in. Neighbors venting about the illegal party, kids crying, blurry videos of the swarm chaos. Someone's cousin stung on the tongue while drinking soda. Karen? Silent until 11:01 a.m., when she screamed in caps denying responsibility, blaming sugary drinks, the landscaping team planting bee-attracting flowers too close to the fence, and claiming she'd only tried to host a positive event. Neighbors weren't buying it. Videos surfaced of her pouring mimosas, her son handing out Jell-O shots, and Karen herself saying, "Let's break some rules, y'all." The digital roast was merciless. By noon, she sent a formal HOA email with the board's letterhead, claiming executive authority to open the pool, denying cutting the lock, calling the swarm an act of God. That phrase? Had me choking on iced tea. She threatened legal action against anyone spreading false narratives. But our HOA legal counsel mostly handled dog poop violations and once sent a cease and desist to a Halloween ghost inflatable. Later that day, Mark, another board member known for neutrality, knocked on my door, grim-faced, clipboard in hand. We talked on my porch. The board had over 24 complaints about the party, including unauthorized guests, alcohol, the cut lock, and the bee swarm. Mark hadn't seen the footage. Only the original installer could access it, me. I handed over a flash drive, told him it might clear things up. At 4 p.m., the emergency HOA meeting convened. Karen stood at the front, fanning herself with a laminated printout of her party invite, while the room buzzed quietly, neighbors eager for answers. When the footage played, silence was so heavy you could feel it. There was Karen, bolt cutters in hand, laughing and snapping selfies. Her son held the gate. Guests dragged coolers inside. No denial, just muttered context. The board didn't need to vote. Karen was immediately suspended, banned from hosting community events for 6 months, and fined for property damage and unauthorized entry. She threatened appeals, but even her defenders went quiet. Her son's viral videos of screaming about bee terrorism made him an internet meme Swarmageddon survivor and bee leave me alone. Karen's humiliation was complete, but I wasn't done. 2 days later, a crate appeared at her door. 5 fake beehives, a beekeeper's suit, and a note, "May your next party be the bee's knees." Nobody claimed responsibility, but everyone knew, from then on, her house was the hive. Kids dared each other to ring her doorbell. One neighbor installed a novelty bee statue in his yard. Karen tried saving face, saying she embraced the joke, but stopped attending meetings, walking her dog, and most importantly, Never touch that pool gate again. The beauty wasn't in revenge, it was in precision. I didn't yell or break rules. I just let nature make its statement. Karen buzzed about power and authority, but when real consequences came, she folded like a wet pool chair. Sitting on my porch that evening, pouring the last of the honey water into the grass, I